Dr. Sanjay Gupta has changed his mind on marijuana. In the past, he said that he was against it. In fact, 5 years ago, he said that he would vote against decriminalizing marijuana. But now that he's working on a new documentary titled Weed, he's done extensive research on the medicinal properties of marijuana, and he's changed his mind. In fact, recently he was speaking to Piers Morgan about it, and here's what he had to say.
I've apologized for some of the earlier reporting because I think, we've been terribly and systematically misled in this country for some time, and I did part of that misleading. I think it's irresponsible of the medical community not to offer this as an alternative. 2 points. First of all, these other medications that we talk about for pain, for example, morphine, Dilaudid, OxyContin, Vicodin, you name it. Every 19 minutes in this country, Piers, in the United States, someone dies of an accidental prescription drug overdose. This is no joke. Every 19 minutes. As we investigated this, I couldn't find one documented case of someone dying of a marijuana overdose.
I've made my stunning confession. I tried a bit of cannabis when I was younger. Have you tried it?
I have tried it.
And what effect did it have on you compared to, say, drinking alcohol or whatever?
Well, the irony is, in some ways, because I've been working on this documentary, it was a while ago that I tried this. I didn't particularly care for it, actually. It made me kind of anxious, and it wasn't a very pleasant feeling, I think.
Sure, buddy.
I tried it years ago. I didn't like it at all. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'm kidding, because I actually agree with him. I tried it and I couldn't get high. But that's because I think I'm incompetent. I was like, how are you supposed to do this? Anyway, so we might have a little bit of a debate here, because I'm glad he apologized. I'm glad he's getting the real facts out there, and I think it's really important. I think, rightly or wrongly, he's one of the more important doctors in the country simply because so many people see him and because he's on television, trust him. Him and Dr. Oz, the two leading doctors in the country, God help us.
Although Dr. Oz is all about that holistic stuff.
No, I hear you, I hear you. So it's important, but I think that he was against marijuana in the first place because he worked at CNN, and if 5 years ago he had come out and said that there's nothing wrong with marijuana, I think that would have been really controversial and might have even jeopardized his job. No one on CNN makes controversial statements. None of their anchors. I mean, I guess Piers is the closest one to it, and certainly 5 years ago they were even more conservative, not politically, but in terms of their nature, and it would have raised a lot of eyebrows. And so I'm not saying that he lies and thinks, yeah, I knew that it was good, but I lied about it. But I think you get yourself to believe things you need to believe in order to keep your job.
Well, we don't know what he was believing 5 years ago. We don't know if he thought marijuana was negative because of his job or if it was because of the propaganda that he had been fed throughout his life. And, he looked at studies, but here's something interesting that he mentioned in his piece that he wrote for CNN. He said, in my quick running of the numbers, I calculated about 6% of the current U.S. marijuana studies investigate the benefits of medical marijuana. Only 6%. The rest are designed to investigate harm. That imbalance paints a highly distorted picture. So he had to go out of his way to look into small studies that were done in other countries because, as you guys know, it's very difficult to study marijuana in the U.S. for medicinal use. First of all, you have to buy it from a very specific farm in Mississippi. They actually don't grow it at the moment. And then you have to get approval from all these different organizations, including the National Institute on Drug Abuse, which, by the way, they have an incentive to keep marijuana illegal.
Right.
So he talks about all of this stuff. So maybe he really was misinformed. And I don't really care that he's not a trailblazer when it comes to legalizing marijuana. The fact that he is now coming out very publicly and admitting that he was wrong, I think speaks volumes, and I support it.
No, I'm nitpicking because, a lot of people didn't agree with legalization 5 years ago. Now, a lot of people do believe in it today. In fact, a majority of the country it is. So it bothers me a little bit that the CNN, finally is, as usual, late to the party. Oh, most of the country agrees? Great. Let's send a doctor guy we have out there to say it's okay.
So he's like pulling an Obama, where Obama will wait until the poll numbers indicate that something is popular by 98%, and then he'll support it.
So bless Sanjay Gupta for getting to the right side. No matter how long it took. And I'm looking forward to his documentary. Nonetheless, drop it. Sanjay Gupta, guilty or not guilty?
What? I mean, it's pretty obvious, if anything.
Okay, no. Do you think that he subtly got himself to believe that marijuana was really dangerous 5 years ago because He was part of the establishment media, and to go out on CNN 5 years ago would have gotten him some trouble if he had said there's nothing wrong with pot.
No, you're definitely right, especially the fact that you see the trend is legalizing everywhere, or more states are taking it seriously or considering it, putting laws. So definitely he sees the trend, and he's been smoking all this time. Are you kidding me?
So he thinks he's guiltier than I do. I assume you're a not guilty vote, Anna.
I'm going to go with not guilty. We're speculating as to what his mentality was 5 years ago. We don't know.
No, no. I want to state for the record, this is total speculation.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
but
yeah,
the
of
one
course we
thing
don't
that
have
he
the facts.
definitely is guilty of, and this is not speculation, this is fact, he's definitely token up after work. Okay, obviously that was speculation.
All right, but you know what? 2-1 on guilty. Dave, you can either tie it up or put him away.
Well, like Jesus, I can't believe he's even on trial. Of course he's not guilty. You might be right in your speculation, but still not guilty. Who cares? First of all, I had a friend back in the 90s who thought racism was wiped out in America.
Oh, here we go. You know, Dave, you got me on that one. Because for a second I was like, who was that jacket? That would be me, and that was guilty. Okay. All right, that example was so devastating, I will count your vote double. Sanjay Gupta, are we not merciful? Not guilty. You are pardoned. Toke away. Oh, yeah. Come on.
Sanjay Gupta.
Show, wag.